Yeah.
Are we live?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Welcome, everyone. Today, we've invited Injective co-founder, Eric, and Burnt Finance founder, Burnt Banksy, to our AMA session. Glad to have you two here. All community members can ask questions on this YouTube live stream chat or on the Injective official Telegram channel. We will pick some of the best questions and answers and read them at the end. Thanks for both being here. Now, let's get to know each other a little bit better. Since most people here are quite familiar with Eric, founder of Injective Protocol, I will start with Burnt Banksy. Can you share a little bit more about yourself and your project, Burnt?
Absolutely. First, I want to say thanks for having me. And, hey, Eric, how are you? You're looking great today. But yeah, I mean, I first kind of came into the, the picture, the NFT picture with the original burning of the Banksy, where, we had purchased an original 2006 Banksy entitled Morons, transferred it to an NFT and then burned the original. And then, we really did have our rounds kind of going through all the auction houses, whether that be OpenSea, whether that be Rarible, kind of went through it all. And we kind of saw a very, distinct thing, and that being, a key focus on two things: centralization and a very heavy ETH reliance. And, I don't really have to go too much into ETH reliance. As many of you may know, it comes with very high minting fees, gas fees, and it's very, kind of slow when you're trying to do a fast transaction like bidding. And so we really did set out to build a new true decentralized auction platform for, both minting and, selling NFTs. And so, kind of looked around and we decided to be built on Solana, not only because of the, 50,000 TPS of the, near zero transaction fees, but, essentially because of the community as well. We've been backed by great names, and we've had the pleasure of working with people like Alameda, Multicoin, Hashkey, Spartan Mechanism, 3.0 Defiance. And yeah, and so, here we are, and very thankful for, Injective Protocol being our incubator.
Got it. That's awesome. So, Burnt, can you tell us a little more about what led you into the world of crypto and why you built Burnt Finance in the first place? What problems Burnt Finance is trying to solve?
Yeah, absolutely. And so that's a great question. So, I've kind of been in crypto since about 2016, 2017. Used to have an old mining operation back then, and kind of got into the CryptoKitty era around the same time. And so, been here for quite some time now. And then I think, kind of why building Burnt Finance, previously kind of mentioned, just trying to build a truly decentralized auction protocol to, really, rid the issues that we were having. And, I had been in enough Clubhouse rooms to understand that a lot of people were having the very similar, if not exact same problems that we were having. And yeah, pretty much.
All right, cool. So another question, why did you decide to remain anonymous during this product? You are the infamous Burnt Banksy, famous in the crypto and traditional industry. So why not reveal?
Yes, sir. Yeah, no, that's a great question. And so, it really did start off with the anonymity coming from the actual Burnt Banksy piece. And a lot of this was, more so centered around the fact of putting the product first and putting kind of whatever we were doing in the front lines, not necessarily a face or really an icon kind of this, hence the, the profile picture. We wanted the product or whatever we were working on to gain the attention, not necessarily the person, and then I guess kind of there is a little bit of security concerns. We did get a few threats on the actual Banksy burning, which has been fun. But yeah, and I think main answer would be to mainly put the product in the front lines.
Awesome. So what's the story behind Burnt Finance and Injective Protocol? How did you guys first meet, and what led to the eventual collaboration between Burnt Finance ended up being Injective's first incubated project?
Eric, you want to take this one, or do you want me to take this one?
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Perfect. Yeah, no. So kind of mentioning the the Hackshaw mining rig that I had built back in 2016.
Oh, I think you're accidentally muted.
Yes, I was accidentally muted by the host here. I don't know how that happened. Eric doesn't like the story about how we met, I guess. Yeah.
No, I was changing some.
Now you muted yourself. Okay, so yeah, we were building. We had a Hackshaw, Ethereum mining operation that was, kind of my foray into the crypto world. And I've known Eric since, and I think we went down our, we really did go down our own paths, and then we kind of, met up, and just this Burnt Finance kind of seemed like a good idea to, I guess, rekindle, our enjoyment for crypto.
Awesome, Eric. Anything else to add?
He regrets it.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I regret it a lot.
All right, so next question. Burnt Finance is based on Solana. Why did you choose to build on Solana instead of Ethereum or other widely adopted blockchains such as BSC?
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And so, I mean, for a few reasons, right? And so, kind of touched into the 50,000 TPS, 400 millisecond block time. So, really extremely fast. Additionally, the fees, but we had been speaking to Solana for quite some time, and we'd received the Solana grant. And really, I mean, the ecosystem and just the help and resources that we've gotten from Solana, and even more with the ecosystem as a whole, has just been, I mean, revolutionary. We really probably couldn't have done it without the support of Solana.
Okay, thank you for explaining that. I have another question. So how does Injective work in this process of integration? I understand that we're working towards building a modular multi-chain protocol. Is Solana part of this roadmap as well?
Yeah, so for Injective's case, definitely Solana is a huge part of it for a multi-chain future, mainly because Solana has almost this independence of the community that we never really got in touch with when we were integrating with Ethereum. So I think obviously from step one, we were always building like a fully decentralized bridge to Ethereum. And step two for us is that number one, the users can already, users from Solana can already gain access to Injective by going through the wormhole bridge to Ethereum, and then from Ethereum to the decentralized bridge to Injective. But now we're actually going through like an even faster process by directly bridging Solana to Injective. So in this process, it's a lot more seamless. There's a lot more flexibility, and there's a lot of native integrations. For example, you can submit a lot more flexible event data and potentially native smart contract support to and from Solana.
Awesome. So I'm sure, as you guys know, Solana supports an unparalleled number of transactions, but the IBC would basically allow Injective to achieve horizontal scalability. Are there any security concerns in this multi-chain architecture to scale infinitely since consensus is reached by the same validator set?
Yeah, I would say definitely. There's always been a security concern when the validators overextended, and we actually learned a lot of those during our phase with Equinox staking, where a lot of validators need a lot of education and kind of like getting used to for the onboarding experience, because they both have to run a full node for Injective as well as a full node for Ethereum to fetch the most recent state. So I would say that this is certainly one of the challenge that we have to go through for infinite horizontal scaling. But the benefit from this is immense, because this is almost like a different iteration of sharding, where essentially you can have different subchains and aka traditionally you can consider it as almost like a shard that has its distinct purpose, or its distinct in Injective's case market that can support a lot more throughput and scalability in the long run. Whereas Solana kind of took like a different approach on this. They obviously famously had the podcast called No Sharding. So in their case, they actually explored a very similar concept as we did, which is called verifiable delay function, utilized on the consensus level to make sure that, with all the number of transactions going through Solana, they can still establish consensus and inclusion confidently. But obviously, these two are different schools of thought. They all have their own trade-offs. And I think, this is why the multi-chain future is so exciting, because you're building kind of like a different community with different needs, with a different set of consensus trade-offs that you're facing.
Wow, that sounds really exciting. All right, Burnt, this question is for you now. You're
Let's
clearly
go.
a leading force in the world of NFTs. Can you tell us a little bit about any collaborations you have coming up? Can we expect any more burnings?
Yeah, absolutely. I think kind of the collaborations you'll definitely be seeing kind of coming up within the next couple of weeks, not months. But obviously we're going to be having, definitely with our angel investors and the people that we've worked with, kind of vis-a-vis the NFT and the entire auction process. Can we expect more burning? The answer to that is yes, but I don't think it's going to be in the exact way that you imagine it would be. I think I'll leave it at that for now, and you'll see more kind of in the next week or so.
Sounds mysterious.
Very.
Another question to you is, you just recently introduced the Burnt token. Can you tell us a little more about its related use cases?
Yeah, absolutely. And so, I think what, definitely need, I think the core and the heart of Burnt is essentially going to be the utility token that we will be having. And this is obviously a great way to, incentivize a decentralized community governance for the network. We're going to allow users to, holders to propose and vote on government proposals, obviously determining features, parameters, even new synthetic assets to be created or verification, what have you. And then obviously their stake in the vote determines stake in Burnt determines their voting power on the protocol. And then obviously, like, there's going to be, transaction mining incentives kind of with that. And there's going to be, fee reduction by using the Burn token, and then kind of additionally using it as collateral for when we are moving into the synthetic market, we'll be accepting Burn tokens.
Awesome. Also, Burnt, as mentioned in your recent post, Burnt Finance will not only be a decentralized NFT auction platform, it will also support many assets, such as synthetics, which are referred as Burnt assets. Can you go into what assets can be created on Burnt?
Yeah, absolutely. And so, I mean, a lot of the aspect kind of goes back to the, the community governance. So, whatever we create will be decided by the community, but I don't think people should be thinking about this as linearly as just something like stocks or gold or something like that. I think a good way of, mentioning this would be kind of anything that's synthetic, whether that be, let's call it tangible art, or, I think you'll see a lot more kind of coming in the coming future as we're really expanding this idea out.
Awesome. So now, Eric, how can these assets be brought over to Injective, and can you provide an overview of the bridging process?
Yeah. So first of all, obviously for Injective's case, it's mainly a secondary market, kind of like an avenue. It's after all an exchange ecosystem. So what we're really excited about Burnt is that they kind of created this ecosystem around, or are working on creating this ecosystem around kind of this primary market or the initial offering for any type of assets, for example, like NFTs, tokens, and synthetics. And basically through the Injective to Solana bridge that we're working on, it can be very quickly and seamlessly bridged over to Injective for immediate secondary market trading. And on another hand, obviously this is something we're looking forward to, is that Injective is going to be fully EVM compatible with a full development suite very, very soon. So that means that, Burnt can also deploy similar contracts or, become an Injective ecosystem project once we have this kind of broad ecosystem of different types of DeFi offering ready.
Cool. So now a question for both of you. NFTs have been a controversial topic. A few people think you can't transfer the value of art to the digital world. What are your views on that? And what do you think the future holds for NFTs? Let's start with Burnt answering that question.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. No, I appreciate that. So I think it's been interesting. And I think the definition of an NFT has kind of, very slowly, but over time morphed into something different than what it originally was meant to be. And that obviously being a non-fungible token. So you're seeing things like fractionalized non-fungible tokens, which are obviously an oxymoron and kind of antithetical to the term NFT. I think you're kind of digging down to it and really getting to the roots of it. An NFT really should be, number one, really should be redefined, and number two, really should be more so something that provides authentication to anything really. So I mean, I do agree that it is good to have digital assets that are fractionalized, but I think there's a much broader conversation to be had around the terminology being used, because I think it's more so stunting our growth rather than promoting it to have something so pigeonholed as something that's a non-fungible token. In reality, I mean, it's essentially providing authentication via what we all know and love and work with every day.
Eric, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I think the general landscape for DeFi, especially with the Uniswap V3, which is turning a lot of LP tokens into NFTs, is pretty exciting. It's basically kind of like this, I would say, like concept breaking when it comes to utilization of NFTs, and kind of like bringing people to understand and acknowledge the fact that NFT is beyond just art, beyond just music, and beyond just kind of like a representation of a creation, but rather something that's tangible and asset backed. Or that has certain value to it from a strictly financial standpoint. So I think that's something that I'm really looking forward to. But obviously, like what Burnt said, the fractionalization of NFT is kind of like antithesis of NFT itself, because if you wanted to fractionalize an NFT, you might as well just create like a ERC20 token. I do understand the usage of it, like what we see right now within kind of the vintage car market or like the mortgage market. The real estate market, where people fractionalize these type of like, I would say like high value assets, and then allow for more people to invest into it without the initial liquidity barrier. But I would say that that's not that much or that broad of a usage as compared to the greater NFT market itself.
Thank you. Eric, does Injective have any plans for incubating more projects? Do you want to give any hints to your followers?
Yeah, that's it.
That's
There's
it.
no hint. That's it.
Maybe give a little wink. I think that'll do
it. So now the question on everyone's mind, and maybe the most asked question I've seen from the community: when will you release the Burnt token?
When will I release the Burnt token? I mean, that's a good question, but I think as of right now, we're very focused on delivering a very good product. And so I think, kind of all the team's efforts are really on, building the product and getting it out good. I think you're going to be seeing a Burnt token kind of just as a mainnet rolls out, or even a testnet, just so that some users can essentially just test the functionality. I think what we're really aiming for is utility on day one. And so I think if that gives any correlation to kind of the process.
Thank you. So now I'm going to hand over the speaker to our audiences and choose some questions from the live chat. Our first live chat question is going to be from Harshit Tiwari. When's Injective rebranding? Anything you can share about the rebranding process?
Absolutely nothing. Soon.
I don't think I can.
Okay. Next question is from Goran Mirkovic. Which role does Burnt Finance have in the Injective Protocol ecosystem?
Sorry, could you repeat?
Which role does Burnt Finance have in the Injective Protocol ecosystem?
Oh yeah, like what I mentioned previously, what Burnt Finance is really good at is creating this avenue for a primary market, whereas what Injective is really good at is creating the secondary plus or even like derivative, some would call it like tertiary markets around these assets. So that's what I'm really excited about, because we kind of want to create this vertical ecosystem, like how Injective was initially positioned to begin with on an architectural standpoint, and now we're going for like a kind of like a economic, financial standpoint, basically.
You could say it was a match made in heaven, if you want.
Another question is, how can I join the Burnt community? I only saw an announcement channel on Telegram. Is there any way to chat directly with other community members?
Yeah, absolutely. And I would kind of say that we're probably, at least I'm more active, especially on Discord. I think, the link is in our Twitter bio. I believe it's just, Discord GG/Burnt Finance. But yeah, definitely check out the Discord. It's a lot of fun. Got some good memes in there too.
All right, another question. Will there be any special opportunity for Injective community members to participate in the Burnt product or token launch?
That's TBD.
Yeah.
Cool.
Definitely
actually, TBA. Yeah.
Okay. When will the creation of traditional markets be implemented onto the DEX?
So it depends on what you mean by like a traditional market. So obviously we already had stock futures and a lot of like white offerings on our testnet, just to kind of present the possibilities to the broader user to create these markets. I would say, in the future, this is what we're looking forward to, because we want Injective to be not just, like the avenue for decentralized derivatives, but also a competitor or contender for the greater traditional derivative space.
Thanks. Now here's a very specific and interesting question. If I can make future contracts based on a chicken shop's bargain meal deal, is Uber Eats an acceptable oracle for this?
No.
Okay, next question. Can you give an overview of the auctions on Burnt and what makes it different from other projects out there?
Yeah, absolutely. I think kind of what you see traditionally is, primarily English auctions, which is just obviously, highest price wins. But I think, we're definitely experimenting a lot. Obviously, we're going to be having a lot of new, auctions. But I mean, sorry, let me phrase that. Implementing old auctions such as Dutch or, Candlestick or something like that, or lottery. But also we're really experimenting with, new types of auctions, maybe a sort of, let's imagine an auction where it requires users to stake their tokens in order to participate in a certain type of auction. You can essentially call that a staked auction, right? And so I think there's a lot to be done in the industry and a lot to be reinvented with kind of a new rule set that hasn't previously been done before.
Thanks. Another question. How big do you think the market is for decentralized auctions? How big can we expect Burnt to be within the DeFi and crypto?
Huge. Next question. I mean, I think it's interesting, right? I think, decentralized auctions are just one name of the game. It's just one piece of the giant cake in general. And I think it's something that hasn't really been touched on so far. And I think it kind of goes hand in hand with a minting aspect too. And I think you're going to be seeing a lot more of a foray into the DeFi space, kind of coming from a primary auction house, right?
Thanks. So how was Injective built? Some users are wondering if we are natively built on Cosmos. How are you building the multi-chain ecosystem?
Yeah, so Injective is integrated with the latest Stargate. So technically, we're built using the Cosmos SDK. We're not built on Cosmos per se. So definitely, there's a lot to be leveraged via IBC as more and more Cosmos ecosystem projects are onboarding to or upgrading to Stargate. And obviously, by being Cosmos, just enjoying the flexibility of it, we have our own set of validators. We have kind of like this self-evolving sovereign community that can align the overarching vision or goal of Injective, so that like we're more exchange focused compared to other layer 1 projects. So I think that's what's really exciting. So bridging to other protocols and either like a fully decentralized or POA basis becomes a lot more flexible. And basically, we will be always like use case or exchange incentive driven rather than going for like a broad range of application that I think will overextend ourselves.
Thanks. Another question is, how do you think about making your platforms more user-friendly for people that are not familiar with the technical aspects of each platform?
Dad, can I take this one first, or do you want it?
You can go ahead, all yours.
Thank you. I mean, I think that's the whole name of the game, right? I think something that we're trying to do is especially make a very easy user interface to bridge something that's could be considered more complicated to something that looks very easy, such as minting an NFT or minting a song or something. I think when curating to two different sets of markets, I think you need to obviously have the technical prowess and technically have the back end built out. But I think if it's not easy to understand and if it's not extremely simple to do, I think you're going to be missing out on a lot. And that's kind of how we really plan to expand into various different markets and really capture many different audiences, whether that be the music, whether that be the art, whether that be maybe real estate, right? I think having the easy UI is probably one of the most important aspects.
Thank you. Are you guys thinking about building any parachains to Polkadot?
No. So the way we go about this is that we will be integrating with some EVM compatible parachains for example, Edgeware or Moonbeam, and that will be kind of our gateway into the greater Polkadot ecosystem. Because if we build our own parachain, then we would have this segregation of validator responsibility, which would overextend us as we learned a lot from the phase during Equinox. And so I think the more practical approach for us here is that we work with existing parachain projects that are eager to bridge with as many projects as possible and work with them in terms of like bringing the asset over and let them do what they do best.
So are you guys thinking about having an app?
Yeah, it's been floated.
Eventually.
Stay tuned.
TBA.
Thank you. I believe that wraps up our live chat questions. Let's see. Eric and Burnt Banksy, please feel free to add anything that you haven't touched on, but we'd love to share with the audiences now.
Go Injective Protocol.
Go Burnt Finance.
Yeah, all right. I think we got everything we needed sorted out here.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys both so much for being on this live today. I can't wait to see the development of the Injective multi-chain ecosystem.
Thanks,
guys.
Yeah, great job.
Bye.